guys, it's your girl Kelsey Janae. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And you guys already know what you're gonna say. Where have you been, Kelsey? Y'all, I took a short hiatus, if you consider a month short. I took a month-long hiatus and I have a reason. I actually just moved. So I took the month off to get prepared for that and all that stuff. Plus, of course, I didn't want to push myself too hard when I had work, school, all that fun stuff to do as well. So I took the month off, but I am back, you guys, and I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into this video. And as you guys can tell by the title of the video, I am going to be sharing with you guys some tips on solo traveling. And I'm not just pulling these tips out of thin air, you guys. These are things that I've actually learned along the way of me actually traveling by myself and, you know, just doing some research and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, the first thing that I wanted to say is not a lot of people like to be alone. You know, I'm not saying that you have to be introverted, extroverted, whatever you want to call it. Just a lot of people don't like doing things alone. So if you're planning on traveling alone and you don't like to do things alone, I would really recommend that you first practice just doing things alone. And I mean, like, go to see a movie by yourself or go sit at a restaurant and eat dinner by yourself. I've done that a lot, and I've actually had a friend that commented before. She was like, girl, you really are just not afraid to do things alone. Like, no, I'm not. It doesn't faze me. So that's the very first tip that I have. If you've never traveled alone and you want to start traveling alone, but you don't like doing things alone, you like being in big groups with a friend or whatever, I'd say if you haven't done this, practice first. You want to, like I said, go to a movie, go to a restaurant. Practice first because you'll need it. Okay, my next tip is to, if you're not already, you may want to join some solo travel groups on Facebook, or even check it out on Instagram, whatever, you know, social media outlet that you tend to gravitate toward, which for me is both Instagram and Facebook. You can check out some solo travel groups that you can just join, and guarantee there's a lot of different tips that a lot of the people that do this, that are on these groups, they'll give a lot of tips and even a lot of different places you can go that's really solo travel friendly. My next tip is you want to make sure that you research everything before you go. And of course you're going to research your hotel and all that stuff, and, you know, your travel, your actual airline travel, even if you're, you know, doing a road trip, because I've done a road trip by myself before. You just want to make sure you research before you go. See how long it'll take for you to get there, what time you're going to get there, you know, just the travel time, your travel cost. See, like, if the location that you're staying, like say if you're staying in a hotel, they could possibly have a shuttle that could pick you up from the airport. Make sure if you need to do that, make sure you do make reservations for that. Just things like that. Just plan ahead and make sure that you've done your research before you go, because you don't want to do this stuff while you're there. You really don't. Okay, my next tip is once you have your trip all planned and everything like that, you want to make sure you give a copy of your travel itinerary to either a friend or a family member or whoever you feel comfortable enough with having a copy of this itinerary. And of course, you know, your itinerary has your hotel information, you know, where you're staying, the address of the hotel, things of that nature, in case, and God forbid, anything happened to you, they'll be able to, you know, give somebody some information, like this is where this person was last, or this is where they're supposed to be but they're not there, or something like that. So have somebody, you know, back in your home destination know what you're doing and where you're going, basically at all times. My next tip is that you want to try to pack and travel lightly. And when I say pack lightly, the last trip that I went on by myself, a solo trip, I just had a little carry-on, and this was actually a road trip. I had just a little carry-on, and wherever I went, I went to Orlando, and I went to the theme parks and things like that. I didn't go to Disney, but I went to Universal and Island of Adventure, and that was my last solo trip. And I wanted to make sure I didn't have too much stuff with me. Firstly, because I drove, and you know, I didn't want to have a lot of crap in my car where I would forget something in my car, somebody breaking my car, so I'm trying to get something. I just wanted to have my one little small little suitcase because it was just going to be me. It was a couple days, and I didn't want to have to lug anything heavy, have to have anybody help me carry anything to my hotel room, none of that stuff. And also, just traveling light, I had like a fanny pack. It had my camera on me in the fanny pack, and it also had, you know, my identification, my cards, my phone, my money, just something that was, you know, close and tight to me so that nobody could pickpocket me. So that's what I mean when I say travel lightly. My next tip is, I mean, it's something that you want to do if you were even with someone and not just alone, but you want to make sure you stick to being in open places and public places, like wherever you go. Like if you want to go to the beach, you know, beaches are normally, if you're in a destination that has a beach, they're normally pretty busy. You know, if something happened to you, you know, you can scream and somebody be there to your rescue. So that's what I mean when I say stick to open and public places. Don't go wandering down no dark alleys by yourself, or even sitting in an establishment that's fairly empty. It just make you stick out, and you can become a target. My next tip is you should absolutely walk with confidence. And when I say that, I mean, just don't walk around looking like you're a lost puppy. Look like you know where you're going. This is where the actual research part that I talked about before comes in. Make sure you already know what you're doing, where you're going, at what time, so that you don't look like somebody help me. You know, don't look like a lost puppy. And my next tip, this is actually just for certain destinations, and it really depends, because some people do this, some people don't. But don't look like a tourist while you're walking around. Like an example is you're in Orlando and you happen to go to Disney World, and you buy a Disney World shirt and you want to wear it, you know, not while you're in the park, but just walking around, you know, going to different restaurants and stuff in the actual Orlando outside of the park, and you look like a tourist. You really do stand out. And again, like I said before, when you stand out, you can look like a target. Somebody can target you for anything because they know that you don't belong in that setting. They know that you're from out of town, and you most likely you don't know the ins and outs of the town, and you don't know what you're doing. My next tip is a very important one. I mean, I do this when I'm at home. You should do it too as well while you're at home, but especially when you're away, you want to make sure you always keep a good legal identification on you, as well as an insurance card. Because like I said before, God forbid this ever happen, but something happened to you and you're unable to talk or anything, so somebody can identify you because you have your ID on you. And if you have to make an emergency ride to the emergency room or something, to a hospital, and you're having your insurance card on you. So make sure you always keep your ID, not a copy, but your actual ID, and a valid insurance card on you. Okay, my next tip is a really good one and a very important one, and that's, again, if you are at home, out of town, wherever, you should always do this. Make sure if you're going to drink alcohol, or heck, water, soda, whatever kind of drink, and you're at a bar or something, buy your own drink. And if you don't buy your own drink, if somebody is nice enough to buy you a drink, make sure you're sitting at that bar and the bartender hands it directly to you. You keep your eye on your drink at all times, because you don't want nobody spiking your drink and you end up in a trash can somewhere. Y'all get where I'm going with that story. My next tip is another safety tip. Make sure that you never tell anyone, no stranger, no one in the destination, where you are lodging, where your hotel is located. Don't do it, because somebody could actually come up to you and you, like say you're sitting alone in the lobby or something of a hotel, of your hotel, and they may come up and ask you, hey, they might strike up a conversation, and they just so happen to ask you, are you staying at this hotel, or what hotel are you staying at? I say lie. That's my tip. lie. Tell them, no, I'm not staying here. I just came in here, you know, get out the heat or something, or I'm just waiting on a friend. Or if they ask you what hotel you're staying in, just say, like, I'm gonna just give an example, hotel Marriott. And don't say which one. Don't say I'm going to stay in at the airport here, Marriott that's down the street from the airport and blah blah blah. No, just say Marriott. It's a very general location. You know, they can't tell which Marriott it is. Just don't tell anybody where you're lodging. Okay, here's another good tip, and especially if you don't like being alone, and this is something I've done before with or without a group of people or a friend or something. Research and go on like walking tours or riding tours, like a trolley type of tour with a group of people. You know, there's going to be more than just you know, on this tour. It makes you feel like you're actually, you know, with someone out there, and you're not just traveling alone. It's a great way to meet new people, a great way to learn different things about different people, about the town. So make sure you do some of those tours. They're very fun. You can try, and this is, you know, this is not sponsored, but I like to look up different tours and stuff on TripAdvisor.com. All right, the next few tips that I have here are based on safety alone, and anybody should always do this if you're traveling alone. Heck, sometimes you can do it if you're with a group, if you don't feel safe traveling, whatever. But the first one is, if you absolutely cannot and just refuse to go out of town and get a hotel room and be alone, like you're just afraid to do that, or you just don't want to do it, you can absolutely try a hostel. And they're kind of like a dormitory type of thing. You can research those on you know, different websites. Just Google it. I think booking.com has them as well, where they really are kind of like college dormitories, where they have like a room and they have maybe like anywhere between 6 to 10 bunk beds, and there's different people that are staying there with you, and I think you share like a community style bathroom, and it's just a way that you make you feel like you're not alone, you know. And it's another way that you can absolutely meet new people, have a different experience, and they're a lot cheaper than hotels as well. I mean, it's just something that you can absolutely try if you're afraid to stay in a hotel alone. Just an idea. All right, and the next tip, and I think I might say a hostel. It's either hostel or hostel, either way. But the next tip is, if you just feel like you're going to be absolutely unsafe, you can totally go to like one of those sporting goods stores like Dick's or Cabela's, or heck, I can't even think of Academy. I can't even think of any other ones that I've been to before, just in the US. Just a sporting goods store where you can get like a really cheap weapon. And I'm not talking like a gun or anything. Like you can get like some mace or a stun gun or something like that, that's going to be really affordable, that could just run on battery, that if you feel like if you need to go to some place that you're going to feel unsafe, you can absolutely buy that and just, you know, throw it away before you go back, you know, back home. Unless you're driving, of course you can keep it. But if you're flying, TSA is not going to let that fly. Believe me, I've had mace on my keychain before, and I absolutely forgot that I had it on there, and I went through TSA, and it was on my keychain. It was on my keychain, and I went to TSA, and the guy went digging through my bag, and he put on my keys like, ma'am, what is this? I was like, oh, I forgot. And he took it, threw it away. So, you know, that's an idea, you know, just in case, you know, if you want to feel extra safe, it's up to you. You can absolutely do that. All right, my last and final tip, and again, this is a safety type tip. If you are out and about, you know, enjoying yourself, and someone happens to come up to you and starts harassing you, you're already going to be in an open, you know, public space, like I told you to be, like I tipped you to be. So if somebody, you know, is harassing you, make a scene. Make a scene. Scream, yell, whatever you got to do. Tell that fool to get the hell away from me. Whatever you got to do, make a scene, because most likely somebody in that area, in that vicinity, will come to your rescue and just be like, is this fool bothering you? Yes, they are. So absolutely, if you need to make a full out scene, if somebody is bothering you, harassing you, trying to snatch you up, something, scream, make a scene. All right, you guys, that is all of the tips that I have for you guys. I didn't count them. I'm not sure how many it was, but that's all the tips that I have for you guys when it comes to solo travel. I hope you guys, if you've never traveled solo before, please do. I think it's really fun. It's intriguing. It's different, and I'm not sitting up and saying that I don't like to travel with friends or groups of people. I absolutely love to do that. I travel whichever way. I love it all. But solo travel is just a little bit different. It's just like, and the biggest thing about it is it's like you don't necessarily have to do what anybody in the travel group is doing. You know, you can, I mean, you can do that with, if you go with somebody, but it's like, it's kind of free feeling. It's like a free feeling to be able to travel alone, and you can wake up whenever you want to. You can go to whatever restaurant you want to go to, do whatever you want to do without having to consult with somebody else. You get what I'm saying? So I would say, if you haven't tried it, try it. I love it. It's fun. It's awesome. And well, actually, one more tip. And this is just for if you're doing international travels. Make sure you learn at least like basic phrases for, especially if you go to a country that, you know, English is not their first language. Make sure you learn some basic language for that country. Like learn how to, you know, ask somebody where this hotel is or where this is, or, you know, something like that. Like you can use like an app like Babbel or Duolingo or something like that, or even just, you know, utilize Google Translate. That's, you know, a second option, but you should absolutely learn some type of phrases, you know, study them before you go. It'll be very helpful. But I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video. Again, like I said, I am back. I am ready to get back into making videos consistently and posting them every Sunday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. But I hope you guys really like this video. I hope that you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And of course, I hope you subscribe. And once you subscribe, please hit that notification bell so when I post new awesome videos, you guys will be notified. Deuces.